Hey there, guys, and welcome to another Factorial Friday Facts discussion, round number 340 Deep Desyncs, and I'm joined by Bombug again.
Hello, hello. How you doing this fine Friday, X?
Um, Doing okay, kind of tired. How about yourself?
Well, I'm ready for this weekend, man. I been indoors for quite a while. Started picking up an exercise routine, and that means I'm tired.
Yeah, exercise does that.
Yep. So hopefully, the nice buns and thighs will come later, but for now it's just the tired part.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely, definitely tiring exercise. That's why I try to avoid it.
I know. I don't know what's come over me, man. It's terrible.
It's unacceptable, really.
We'll see if maybe this Friday facts can get me interested in skipping the exercise and doing a little bit of factory building.
Yeah, so this one, some interesting desync stuff. Just a bit of an update here. Just a super quick summary, basically about coronavirus, COVID-19. Basically, they're all working from home, which is great. And they seem to be doing okay. They're still following the schedule quite well. They released the character GUI and statistics GUI last week, and some improvements such as new water splashes and leaf animations this week. So things are moving along. But it's kind of early in, so they haven't really had any experience having the whole team work remotely. So there may be some challenges they run into and stuff they need to tackle. But so far, it hasn't really affected the release for 1.0, which is really good. And then moving down, business as usual. Our eShop is still remaining operational, which is interesting. I'm not quite sure how they're doing that. Maybe just like one person goes in or something. Um, but they've restocked all variants of our t-shirts. While we can't guarantee anything, if you order from us at this time, we should still be able to get the t-shirts to you. So that's good.
Yep, very excellent. I guess, yeah, if you only have one person in the office, it's probably not a big deal to do some social distancing.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, so then moving on down to some a little more technical stuff, some deep desyncs. Last week, excuse me, last week we had quite a few more players than usual in Factorio 2 was released, which meant a lot more hours into a lot more areas of the game. During the week, Boss Kid and I received quite a few desync reports with mods. Generally, we believe that it's probably the mods causing the problem, as it's quite easy to cause a desync with the control scripting if you don't know some very important gotchas. Uh, Still, we decided to investigate to help the players find out which mod is causing the problems, and or which players find help the players find which mod is causing the problems. So we move on to serpent cyclic references, and this is probably where I start to not understand anything I'm reading. But
You want me to tag in here?
yeah, you can tag in here if you understand this a bit better.
Sure. So let's see. Serpent, as I understand, is a tool used to like save and load data. So they're probably using it to store, positions of enemies and stuff. So one quite tricky desync we found is related to cyclical references and the way Serpent serializes the global Lua data. Take the example here of the construction drones mods. You have a player which dispatches the drones to go do work. The player needs to keep track of what drones he owns, and the drones need to remember which player they belong to. So if you look at this little diagram and screenshot they have here, you'll notice that the global entities reference Clonin and Construction Drone 1. Over in Construction Drone Run, it references its owner Clonin, and then over in Clonin, it references Construction Drone 1. This is called a cyclical reference because uh, basically everything needs to know about the other things, but the other things need to know about the other things first. And it gets into this cycle where it's like, okay, well, maybe nobody can know anything because they're referencing each other. And so you need to be really careful and make sure that things are done well. So their explanation below. Now this works fine during runtime. You can access the drone from the player object and access the player from the drone object. When the game is saved, Serpent goes through all the data in global and serializes it for later. Serializing is where Serpent reads the data and saves it to a specific format or reads the data and loads it in a specific format. It's called serializing. So to handle the cyclic references, if Serpent detects that it has seen an object already, it writes a placeholder value and comes back to fix it later. The problem is that Serpent chooses nil as the placeholder value. In Lua, writing a table value as nil is the same thing as deleting the key, and the key won't be seen when looping the table in the future. When Serpent goes back to fix up the placeholder values, it ends up with each peer saving a different table ordering because of some even deeper technical difficulties with their custom version of Lua. I didn't realize they had a custom version of Lua, so that's good to know.
Yeah, that's cool.
So the problem is deep and was quite hard to find, but the fix is quite simple. Boss Kids simply changed the placeholder value from nil to 0, and now the iteration order is saved and loaded correctly every time. That is awesome. That is a really common bug across pretty much any programming language, is the difference between nil or null and 0 and unset. So if you get into programming, you're going to see that a lot. And these guys kind of knew what they're looking for. They've been programmers for a while here. They know what's going on. But to dig down and actually find out where that issue is really, really hard, because usually it's something that's not there. Right? It's like a nil or a null or a 0 value. So it takes a lot of debugging. Get on them for finding it.
Mm-hmm.
All right. The next section here is unit group max speed.
Okay.
So another report came in from a player using Factorio 2 and Rampant mods. This one on the surface really seems like the mod's fault, since all the diffs and the desync reports were related to unit positions, and the Rampant mod is all about. The desync was extremely fragile and very hard to reproduce, but eventually Boss Kid managed to narrow it down. This is a screenshot taken from the exact tick that the desync occurred. Now, I don't know if you can see anything wrong here. Let's see, it says, well, do you see anything wrong first off?
Let's see. So, desync was extremely let's see. Related, this is a screenshot taken from the exact tick that desync occurred. I mean, my guess would be it has something to do with this weird, disgusting looking stuff on the right.
Yeah. So let's see. Is that called creep?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, so they says, what jumped out to me as immediately suspicious is that the biter is only just moving on to the creep. This is because the creep from Factorio 2 gives the units a speed penalty when walking on it. I did a quick experiment by commenting out the tile modifier code in the game engine, and the desync did not occur again. Okay, so that's kind of interesting. I hadn't played Factorio 2 or 1, so I didn't know that.
Yeah, I
let's
didn't
see.
either.
They've got a lot of extra mods on the enemies, I guess. So let's see.
Let's
but
see.
of course,
Yeah, do you want me to take over? Or you good?
oh yeah, you can go ahead and tag in here. You see which paragraph I ended on there?
Yeah. So, of course, removing the code here would only treat the symptom, and the cause will still be something deeper, as kind of discussed in FFF 296. So with lots of patience, Boss Kid narrowed it down further and further deep into the movement and unit behavior logic. What we found is that the unit is part of a unit group, and this group was caching the value of its max speed based on the slowest unit in the group. However, this value was not saved with the save game, but was recalculated each time the game was loaded. Since the unit was walking on creep, its speed was affected, so the group calculated lower max speed when the game was loaded. This logic has been in the game since unit groups began, but it only became a problem more recently. In versions Factorio 016 and before, a unit's max speed was always going to be based on its prototype, which does not change after the game is loaded. With version 17 and 18, I would assume, and above, we added 2 really nice mod capabilities, allowing units to be affected by tiles, allowing scripts to change unit speed directly. So it didn't really come up as a problem initially, as a free-play based game doesn't really use these capabilities. Well, every change has the potential to break things. Since we know the only 2 cases where the unit speed can change, Oxide made it so that the unit will notify the group to recalculate max speed when it's necessary. So that's really nice. And honestly, I was having so many problems with Rampant that I mean, I know this particular creep stuff is added by Factorio, but I think that maybe this would actually fix a lot of the desync issues that Rampant has as well, which would be really nice.
Interesting. Are you using it in your current Death Worlds or
Um,
just in a past one?
I was for a lot of the beginning, and then because of all the desyncs, I had to switch to a different enemies mod.
Dang, that is not good. So when you're getting desync in the game, how does it affect you? Is it monsters attacking you and you can't shoot them? What do you usually see?
Um, Desyncing in the game is like, I mean, it basically just disconnects you from the game. It's like a crash almost.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, and then it gives you like an error message, and you have to load back in, and you usually lost like everything that happened since your last autosave to the desync. Um,
Wow, that's pretty strict then. Normally I would think of games with desync as having like a catch-up mechanic, you know? Once it syncs back up, it catches up, but I guess Factorio is really strict with its handling. Huh?
yeah, and I mean desync obviously only applies to a server. The like when you play on a server. The problem, at least for me, is that if it's something like with Rampant, is it almost makes it impossible to play because it will just happen over and over again. Like you'll desync and then you'll get disconnected, you'll reconnect, and then you'll just desync again over and over again.
Oh man. Oh,
So
because it's hitting the same situation that it desyncs on.
right,
All right. As soon
exactly.
as you
So
sign back in, it just rolls back, but then goes forward and hits the problem.
yeah, so it's real tough. But I think this may help some. Either way, it's really good they got this sorted. And that's really the Friday facts. Nothing super new, crazy. Just some nice kind of decent bug fixing, as it were. And I'm glad to hear the teams doing good, all staying healthy and safe, working from home, but still getting stuff done. That's really good news.
Yeah, I'm glad that they're kind of taking care of their team and making sure people aren't at risk. You know.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I think that's gonna do it. Unless you got anything else to add.
I'm just thinking Boss Kid for his like main car, he must have a tank because he's just ironing bugs out wherever he goes. It's crazy.
Oh my god.
Uh,
Yeah, you're
every
right.
time I see, okay, when I think of Boss Kid, I think of the QA equivalent of oh shoot, who's the dev who does all the really technical stuff?
Our
What's his
seating.
name? Yeah, R seating. I think like Boss Kid is the like QA version of R seating.
Yeah, I'd say that's
He
pretty
just
accurate.
yeah, all that stuff that he found with like underground pipes and liquid. Oh my god, that's intense stuff.
Yeah, that was pretty crazy. All he was able to find there.
Yeah, yeah. It seems like it's a good team they've got, and they're keeping them safe. So we appreciate Woob. Take care, guys.
We really do. Take care of yourselves, guys, and I'm glad things are progressing well. Still with the game progress, but I think that's gonna do it for now. As always, guys, thank you so much for watching. Really appreciate it. Leave your thoughts below and on the forums and Reddit for the devs, and stay safe and healthy. And until next time, we will see you later.
See you guys later.